In this lecture, you will learn about the tab and the Newline characters. These are things that allow you to change the structure of the string's output. First, let's see what the world looks like without them. Okay, let's start typing. Okay, so what is this? Well, imagine you have many books and you have many friends and you lend many of your books to your friends. To keep track of the progress, you write a Python program. This would be the part of the program that prints to the screen data about the missing books. This string here is to set a title, and this string here is about the missing books. Okay, let's now execute it. But I'm going to execute this time a little bit different. Before we do it from the menu bar, I go to run and run without debugging. This time I'm just going to be using the shortcut, which is Ctrl F5. This is on Windows. If you're using Mac, the shortcut would be Command F5. So I can remove the menu bar again. You don't need to do that. Actually, don't do that. I'm doing it just because of the video for visual appeal. So I'll run this with Ctrl F5, pressing those keys at the same time. And here's the output, and the output is ugly. This is not clear at all. The issue here is that the output should be able to tell me the meaning of this data quickly. It is not doing so. This is bad. Here's what I wish this to look like. This is it. This is what I'd like the output to look like. So let's see what's the difference in here. Well, there is an empty line between the output of one print and the other. And each of these book mentions is on a new line. Furthermore, there is some abundant space here between the word book and the actual title. This is more like what we want. Now I'll show you how to achieve this same output with the tab and Newline characters. Okay, a Newline character. A Newline character is like pressing the Enter key on your keyboard. We use it to move the cursor down to a new line in the terminal. This can help us create an empty line in the terminal as the strings are printed. Do this. Notice the output here. You'll see that this line here was, let's go back up. You'll see that this line here is the second one after this one. How is this possible? Well, the cursor here, after this S was printed from books, the cursor here had to be moved down here. Only after that, this line here was printed. Now, that happens because at the end of a string, the print function makes so that the cursor goes down, and this happens after the last character of a string, which is the S here. And the same thing happens with this one, of course. So by default, the cursor is moved down one time. But what if between this line here and this one, like we saw in the picture, we want to move the cursor down one more time so that we get an empty line, which will make things look better. Look at this. This one here is the Newline character, a backslash and an N. It allows us to move the cursor down one additional time after the default one. So let's see what the output is going to be. All right, like we wanted, now we can see here an empty line between the output of one print and that of the other. But there is more. You can place a new line character wherever you want within your strings. So I'm going to place one here and one here, and we don't need this anymore. So let's remove this. And so the cursor is going with this. The cursor is going to be moved down at this location, and here again, the cursor is going to be moved down. And let's see what the output looks like. Oops, I forgot to remove one of the commas. So this is here. Let's remove this. I'm going to clear this out and run it again. This is much better. It looks almost like what we want. What's missing? Well, we still need that abundant space between each book word and each book title. There's just one white space here. That's not enough for us. Well, we can do that by simply pressing the spacebar here and a little bit more here and then here, right? So let's see the output. Well, just for clarity, I want to remove the previous output. So let's do this again. And we have done that. Abundant space here. But this is not well aligned, right? So that is because I did not type the spacebar the same amount of times. And here, if you highlight, each dot is going to tell you how many spaces there is. Here, I believe is what looks like 4, and it's more here, and even less here. That was an accident. So this way of adding space is much prone to errors, accidents. Luckily, there also is something called a tab character, and here's how we use it. This here is a tab character, and what it does is add 4 white spaces each time this is used. And it is 4 by default in VS Code, but you can actually change that in the settings. But it is usually 4 in VS Code and also other code editors. So let's just print this now and see what comes out. And this is actually what we have always wanted. We did it. It worked. The titles are aligned perfectly. Using the tab character helps us with consistency. Helps us type fewer keys and takes much less space in the text editor. You can mix tab characters with manual white spaces if you want to get a number of white spaces that is not a multiple of 4. For example, I'm adding a manual white space here. I just press the spacebar. And now I've got 4 white spaces here with the tab character and 1 here. And this is 5 in total. And now I get 6. And you can get as many as you want. And the same goes for the Newline character. If you want to move the cursor down many more times, just add as many Newline characters as you need.